Y'all just further now.
This is where we waited for Jussie to come before we attacked him.
Hello and welcome in. What is good, YouTube? The brothers behind the Jussie Smollett hoax. I'm gonna butcher their names. Forgive me. Bola, Bola, Asundero, and Ola Binjo Ula Osandaro. Those are their names. They go by Bola and Ola. They were the two brothers that Jussie Smollett hired to perpetuate a hate crime against him. And they don't spare many details, man. The brothers seem pretty excited to give their take on what occurred. It's a Fox Nation exclusive if you want to watch the full thing. The documentary is called Anatomy of a Hoax. They share what they were instructed to do to stage the hate crime that shook the nation. And we have a small snippet here that has been floating its way around the internet, and it is hilarious. Let's take a listen.
This is where we waited for Jussie to come before we attacked him. So we got here with 10 minutes to spare, and we had to plan our escape route to survey the land. His building is actually right here, right above the stairs that we're going to attack him at. We made sure we got there at 2 a.m. sharp.
On the dot.
We had no phones because he did not want us to bring any phones. He said, so we don't lose them.
I don't know if that's really the reason.
But you can deduce your own reason.
I mean, listen, like, we all know what it is. Especially with Fox News, like, but we know what it is. And you knew what it was too when you were doing it. Like, you ain't fooling nobody.
2 a.m., he was nowhere to be found. He was not there. So we were like,
Damn, what do?
we didn't have no way of contacting him. He had no way of contacting us. So we waited here for about, what, 4 minutes?
It was about 4
Roughly
minutes,
4 minutes.
but it felt like forever.
Because it was cold as balls.
Fuck, it's cold!
So I saw him out the corner of my eye, and I was like, okay, that's him. Let's go. We gotta go.
It's funny now because it's like we all understand like what the whole setup was for in the first place. And I think it's funny to see their attitudes towards it because obviously their lives were impacted with this as well, and knowing that they took part in it too. I just think it's awesome that they're so upfront and they're like, you want to know exactly what we did?
All right, well, follow me.
Come over to these stairs over here. We'll show you where we were at before we were freezing to death while we were trying to
Pretend to be racist.
Get this Empire fat. Yeah, that's him. That's him. Is that him?
That's that neck.
It's that Nick.
Get that neck.
Oh, he's moving fast. Come on, let's get him.
Get that neck.
Let's get him.
Dude, no way on planet Earth, if there was someone who was actually wanting to be racist like that, some trucker hat,
Beer belly packing, rednecked American.
is gonna know what in the hell empire is.
We crossed the street. We said hey to get his attention.
Hey, Nick.
Hey! He turned around, looked at us, and that's when we started yelling the famous slurs he wanted us to yell. Hey!
Aren't you that Empire?
Hey.
He had to, can you imagine Jussie had to instruct these two black men what slurs to use.
Read, nigga, read!
Dude, they had to do every single step of this by the dot.
It's MAGA country.
Yeah.
And then he said, what did you say to me? And then that's when I threw the first punch at him. I held the blow because I didn't want to hurt him, of course. So I made it look real, but I held it. Then we started tussling, moving around, and then I threw him to the ground. He wanted it to look like he fought back.
That was very important for him.
He had to be sure he was seen as he was fighting the injustice.
Did you just say spokesman instead of spokesperson? When women are just as capable of selling sandwiches as anyone?
He was fighting all the injustice that he completely planned out and hired foreign people to come and then taught them how to use the slurs against him, and then also had to make sure that they wouldn't actually beat his ass because he was scared of being seen as weak while being attacked during a staged hate crime. Brother, you are the definition of a coward.
Because he said, hey, don't just beat my ass, make it look like I'm fighting back and whatnot. So we did that, and then I threw him to the ground. And after I threw him to the ground, he had no bruise. I wanted it to look more real. So then I threw him to the ground. After I threw him to the ground, I used my knuckle
and gave him a noogie.
So I went like this. Why did I do that? To give him a scar, to give him a mark, to make it look real, like he really did get his ass beat. After I did that, I fake kicked him. I don't know what he was doing. I wasn't paying attention.
That's where I came around with the bleach, the infamous bleach in the hot sauce bottle, poured it on his shirt. Then I finally put the rope around his face. I did not put it around his neck.
Dude, I totally forgot that they had all these extra props they brought in with them. And the fact that the dude even forgot to put the rope around his neck and that he just laid it on his face, and that Smollett made sure that it would be around his neck by the time the cops showed up. Man, you had to plan out. You had to teach people how to be racist, to paint, 80 million people in America as complete racist psychopaths? I mean, the only person that seems extremely psychotic at the end of this is you, Jussie Smollett, and a little bit of these brothers for taking it on in the first place. I mean, they seem like they're okay guys, but bro, to go along with something like that just for a few little dollars, who knows? Maybe they had no idea what kind of real effects would come from it.
Just placed it on his face, and that's when we took off.
And that's the small little clip that's been floating around. I seen it from Luke Rudkowski. I thought it was hilarious. I think it's amazing. I would imagine that this documentary is going to do
loads better
than the original one that they produced that was treating this as a legitimate event and like it wasn't a hoax. I mean, man, they would jump through some hoops to make sure you get called a racist. That's crazy, man. Anyways, peace.